pandemic of the unvaccinated, because obviously it's the people who are unvaccinated that are honestly responsible for the situation that we're in, the situation that we're in right now. So in terms of booster shots, we were hearing different things. I believe the WHO is saying that it's highly likely that we'll need booster shots. The CDC and Dr. Fauci, et cetera, they have not stated definitively that booster shots are inevitable. Common sense tells me that we will need booster shots at some point, but it's not the party line thing yet. It may not happen this year, but if it doesn't happen this year, I think it's going to happen next year, that they will eventually require booster shots. Now, the WHO I read today are saying that we should hold off because we need to get more of the world vaccinated before we start talking about, giving extra shots to folks, which makes sense. So we need to get folks caught up to speed. So I think this is my personal opinion, and we'll hear what PK says. My personal opinion is that eventually we'll need booster shots, but I don't think it's going to be any time within the next few months.
All right. Whenever a virus multiplies, divides, and spreads, with multiplication, you have transfer of genetic material, and mutations can occur. And we can take an analogy from the influenza virus. Every year you get a flu shot, because the virus going around this year is slightly different from the virus which was going around last year. And part of the virus which triggers the immune response, we talk about the antigen. So what we say is there has been an antigen drift from one year to the other. And because there was a drift in the antigen, you would design a vaccine that will cover that drift. The problem is, if that drift is too large, it's no longer a drift. It becomes an antigenic shift. And therein lies the issue of variants. So we have a Delta variant. And then you're going to get a drift. You'll have a Delta 1, a Delta 2, a Delta 3, a Delta 4, a Delta 5. But at some point in time, you're going to go to Epsilon. So you're going to have an Epsilon variant. And that's going to behave like a different animal to the Delta variant. Now, the vaccine that we have going around in Wuhan, which was the Alpha variant, that still has enough coverage to handle the Delta, possibly the Delta 1, the Delta 2, the Delta 3, until you get to the Epsilon. It may cover even the Epsilon. But what if when you get to the Lambda, the antigen drift and shift and drift and shift is too large, where the vaccine, which was designed against Alpha, has lost its potency against the COVID Lambda? That is when you're going to be obligated to say, you must get your booster. All right, that's one. Two, I know they're doing studies and they're measuring antibody levels in recipients of these vaccines. Until such time that we get good data to show at what level of antibody in your blood you are at risk should you become exposed, the whole notion of giving a booster would not even come on my radar. The reason being, as long as your immune system is intact, and I say as long as your immune system is intact, we're not talking about people who have had kidney transplants, or who are on chemotherapy, that sort of thing. As long as your immune system is intact, you have memory, the exposure from that vaccine. And even though your antibody level is low, it doesn't mean to say if you're exposed to the virus, you would be incapable of revving up your immune system to give a good response and give you protection. So all of those studies have to be done. They're ongoing. And at some point in time, I think we'll get good guidance. But the vaccine shots which you're going to take to give people boosters now, if you take those shots and you give them to the unvaccinated, you would actually decrease the pool where the virus is mutating at present to come around to give you your Delta 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 variants. And that is where your money is better spent. Vaccinate the whole world. My opinion.
No, I mean that's
Thank
that's
you.
the
Thank you.
yeah
Well
that's
said.
the that's the opinion of the WHO, that you vaccinate the world before you start talking about giving boosters. That being